This is the Home Depot brand Cadet Heater. As you can see, the heater has replaced my electric baseboard heat. You have to push the heater where the main adapter for the baseboard heat goes. So if the heater connection is here, the heater has to go right where the connection is. First off, as you can see, the heater looks very small compared to the outlet. The heater is actually a little bit taller than a sheet of paper. This knob here is for the highest force air. This one here is to the lowest force air, turning all the way off. And then you got back on again. If you don't want it turned off here, you can turn it off at your thermostat or your breaker. This heater is very easy to install and will cut your electric bill drastically if removing all of your baseboard heat. The biggest problem with the baseboard heaters is what's left behind. This is years and years and years of paint. I highly suggest, unless you have already a can of paint and you know your colors, to prepare to repaint your walls, because when you have years of paint and you go to repaint the walls again, the colors aren't going to match up because the top color is covering up all the other blends and colors as a background base. The heaters have to be installed by a stud. As you can see, there's a hole in my wall where we had to make sure that was indeed the stud because of the dimensions and the rules for the heaters. You have to be 6 inches from the floor and a foot away from a wall or all furniture. You have to be so many feet from a window and so many inches from an outlet. If you have anything within 3 feet in front of the heater, your heater will melt it, if not heat up the object and can start a fire. Nothing can go within 3 feet in front of this heater. When installing the heater, you're going to realize that sometimes when you go to have your main insert, which is supposed to go right here, when it is not lined up in the right dimensions, you have to move it down, which also includes you having to cut out some of your drywall to rewire the heater to a location for better support. This is the main circuit from the old baseboard heat. Had we kept it here, the door would be in the way, thus causing a fire. This is what it looks like when you have to shift down the heat. Save your strip so you can put it back, seal it, and then properly repaint your drywall. This is actually a very big space. Sometimes your spaces are smaller, but based on the angle, this is the mess that was left behind. When dealing with a wide space, in this case, this is my den, we had a 10-foot heater and 12-foot heater to heat an entire area. As you can see down here is the ground where the original heater was for the baseboard heat. We had to move it up. You can see the darker colors. And this is a dual-sided Cadet heater. As you can see in some of them, you're probably wondering why there are black marks. When you're doing electric in your house and you have electric heat, you have a problem with spores being in your house because you don't have the proper ventilation. We found out that we had an issue with damp air, and this was from moisture buildup. My heater vents are stained. I cannot get them clean, but we will have a dehumidifier now to prevent mold and mildew spores from forming in our house. This is how it hooks up. It hooks up just like an outlet, an electrical socket. You have your stud, you have your box and your wiring, and it mounts to it, the fan's inside, and then you put your screen on, followed by your button. Every heater must run on its own line. As you can see, It runs up, it runs over. I bought a digital thermostat from Home Depot to go with this heater. All of this has to be on its own separate line. And as you can see, it heats. It hooks up just like an electrical socket. I'm sure you're probably wondering how much these all cost. These electrical heaters run about $115 a piece. They take about a total from beginning to end, 45 minutes per room, including the drilling and setup of the heaters. To actually mount the heater takes about an easy 5 minutes. It's all just screws into a stub. As you can see here, we had to break apart some of the molding after the fact of we painting, and now I have to go and replace this. You can find them online and you can find them at Home Depot. This is the Cadet heaters, all ripped out as you can see. They used to replace the baseboard heat. Do I recommend them? I absolutely do. I'll tell you why. For one, these heaters give out forced air that's no different than running a small fan in your room. They turn on, they heat up fast, they blow out the air as soon as they heat up. It's warm air. The room heats up real fast, and then they shut off, no different than a regular furnace. These in particular dropped my electric bill from $75 a month. $75 a month in electrical use, because baseboard heaters give phantom energy, and once these are turned off, they are turned off with no power going to them. If turned off at the thermostat. Unlike baseboard heat, they're never turned off. They're directly wired to your utility box. These have a turn-off switch. They're a white noise. Again, blows no different than a fan. So there you have it, the Cadet baseboard heaters at Home Depot, highly recommended.